girlfriend enjoyed. Yo! What's going on, guys? This is Grim Reaper back with another Boar's Hat podcast. You already know we fucked up in the last session. We couldn't get to 315 because where I'm living at, the sky was falling. So we had to make sure that didn't occur. So we got to bring it to this podcast. You know, we got everybody back now. We got Naya's fucking back. This bitch ass nigga doesn't show up. We got Sundown back from a long ass hiatus. We got Manga Fairy back from a long ass hiatus. But Keisha's missing. But we should be able to get it popping. It was a good ass 2 chapter stretch. A lot revealed, a lot of speculation, a lot of different thoughts. So let's hear what you guys thought. Let's go down the line and do your overall thoughts on 315 and 316, and then we'll hop into it.
All right. So 315 for me. I thought that there was 2 major double-edged swords that I'm not going to. I've already talked about in my own review, but I think they can have okay explanations and potential. Overall, the chapter was, it was all right. I heard a lot of people complain that it was not enough, stuff happening. But I'm like, it's a day fight, guys. I enjoyed the artwork. I enjoyed it for the most part. As I said, there was a few things that are pretty controversial for me. But so it was okay. 316 to me was a really good chapter, if for nothing else than the relevant question answered and the cover page information. So I like 316 more than 315, absolutely. And yeah.
All right, so it's me. I think that 315 and 316, there's a lot of hype there, but again with 315 there was some things that needed a little bit more explanation to become more part of the story. It seemed like it was more plot device. I did think that 316 was a stronger chapter just because the action and everything was just better, and there was a little bit of an explanation there, like Griever said. Overall, the chapters are okay right now. I want to see more of the fight with Zeldris, Demon King, and Meliodas, and then I'll determine how I really feel about it. But as of now, it's kind of but it's okay. It's kind of, it has a better feel than the last arc had, so that's a good thing.
Naya, what you doing?
Damn, Naya, bro, come on, dog.
I honestly was talking. This shit was muted. I'm sorry, I forgot. First of all, we champions. Toronto out. Shout to the Raptors.
Enough.
Boardman gets paid. Don't you forget that. And if you feel type of way, Cry River. Now, the chapter was pretty good. I liked it. I the band thing. You know what I'm saying? I had no issue with the band thing. I saw some people oh, of course, the how Merlin had it. I knew she had that shit. I fucking feel it. I knew when he got his naked treasure back, it was gonna be something stupid and simple. So when he got it back, I wasn't even shocked. So I knew she had this shit, or he probably left it in his bag or something. I wasn't even remotely shocked. And you gotta go to work. So we out here. I told y'all Bam was the one. I did. Yeah, I did.
Yo, could you check your sensitivity? You're overmodulated.
All right, one sec. I'm done though for now.
All right, I guess it's me. Wow, damn. Okay.
Go ahead,
Shit.
Go ahead.
You know me, man. I love the human characters. Chapter 315, I had no real problem. A lot of people were complaining about the fact that honestly, at least to me, not a real big deal. There's too much bullshit going on at this point. It's not a big deal. But overall, I do like the intro of Favor. I did like the exposition on it. Overall, these last 2 chapters have been pretty exciting, pretty interesting. I like how he moved away from Meliodas because most story was about him in the first place. So having him and not in the picture actually makes you feel like the story is getting a bit more the love for the other characters that they deserve. Chapter 316 kind of shows what's happening with the other characters outside the system. So we're not gonna get into that yet, but overall, no real complaints. Chapter 316, pretty much what's your chapter focused on? Damn, kid.
What happened?
Is that you, kid?
Wait, what's going on?
Kid going crazy. But overall, yeah, I fucks with both chapters. Nothing too major going on for me, honestly.
Rundown.
All right, they were trash. I hated 315. I thought it was a bullshit. And then I read 316. I thought, okay, that's all right. But there was still a few bullshit moments, especially in regards to what Zazo was saying about the human characters. We'll come to that. But both chapters didn't really enjoy him so much. Have higher expectations. Wanted more out of him. Poor writing. Continue.
Damn.
Wow.
Damn. British man has spoken.
Is this the first time I'm the mellow one in a podcast? Holy shit!
I mean, you know what? Sundown like actually has a reason to do this. You know, like most of this, like most inspiration comes from his country. So I'm not gonna get too crazy.
What?
Sundown's
It's
English. Isn't it?
Britannia. It's Britannia. And also, I haven't read like Taizai in a while, so I got all of this dosage in one go. So I'm kind of fuming.
Yeah, see, there you go.
All right, well, look, bro. Since you haven't read it in a while, it means you haven't reread it in a while either. And Elizabeth is indeed foreshadowed, my nigga, to have all these kinds of powers to be able to do that. Now, I agree. When I first saw this for 315, because this is obviously the biggest issue of contention, besides the sacred treasure being pulled out of Merlin's ass, literally.
Mm-hmm.
I went back for it.
Actually, no, it was her titties. It was her titties.
The encounter back 3,000 years ago, when she was able to, with help, purify two Indras. When she was starting to get her powers back, her memory changed. She took off Dedie's arm like nothing. Her hand, excuse me, like nothing. A 10 commandment. Something that we've seen other archangels. Nero Basta, for example, while possessing Denzel's body, her entire arc that encompassed all of Dedie didn't do shit. But Elizabeth's, a new individual, a person who's getting her memories back with the usage of art, so we can assume she's not the most proficient at it, was powerful enough to just take off her arm like nothing. She had to make up one out of darkness. Like to mention back in Leona's flashback when they were defending the kingdom from Hendrickson, it was her light that pushed back the ominous nebula. The darkness.
Can I just interject for 1 second, Grim? Because I'm not sure about anybody else's opinion, but I had no problem with the fact that Elizabeth showcased power. I have no problem with that. I always thought so, that she was on par with an archangel or above it. I think we all have the issue with this whole blood-stained Ellie title coming out of not Merlin's ass for a change with somebody else. I don't think anybody has a problem with her showcasing power.
Bro,
we have a problem with the title.
Me the chilled out, mellow, relaxed, cooled, aloof Meliodas can't kill thousands of people and still look happy and cheery about it?
That's his character. Why is it being duplicated? That's not the same.
I'm not okay. Here's my thing about Elizabeth and this new title. Personally, it's not a big deal. It's just that I believe like in the last couple of chapters, someone asked Nakaba how powerful Elizabeth was. It was like, oh yeah, she's like equal to the archangels, and I'm like,
yes,
I feel that, but at the same time, I understand why I don't feel that, and that's because of how her character was handled. She's not the individual that's just gonna jump into battle, especially when it's like, say, okay, perfect example. Let's say they're fighting Hauser, right? Elizabeth has an attachment to Hauser, no matter how significant, right? She wouldn't want to hurt Hauser, so her powers might be, I guess, like stunted, or she might be holding back a lot more. Very similar to how King faced off against Helbram the very first time in Vazio. He lost to Helbram, even though Gother said you would have had no problem killing that guy. Like, absolutely, you could have stomped him out, but for some reason you didn't. And he was trying to go through King's memories, but he couldn't go that far before he was stopped. Before he was stopped from talking. Like that's kind of like the idea that I get. It's that like Elizabeth's mindset. She's very much like Orihime from Bleach. Like her mentality affects her battle performance. If she actually wants to fuck somebody up, she can. But if she has, like some qualms about hurting someone, then she won't.
That's not what Griever was pointing out, and that's also not what I would even say. That's not supported in the series, because as Griever was trying to emphasize, she doesn't seem like a battle-hardened individual or a person who had a mysterious, murderous, bloody past like that. What my problem is that why is it an issue for us to get a character like Meliodas' feelings back, who, whether we want to say it's noticeable or not, he is to a certain extent different. You can see one or two little differences, not that much. They're not glaring. why is it okay for him to have a different personality at the end of the story compared to the entire 314 pages, but Elizabeth can't? Like,
because they didn't tell us 2 chapters ago that after seeing Meliodas only aloof the entire fucking time. That's why. It's simple as that. We've seen Meliodas in the present, in the past, and in memories, and through people's understanding of Meliodas being this demon and everything. We've seen it from multiple
so
characters,
then
from
what argument
multiple
about
angles.
exposure then? How many times you've seen it?
Yeah.
This is the first time of it.
No. This is the first time, right near the very end. It seems it feels pulled out of nowhere after 300 chapters of knowing the second main character, and now all of a sudden we're finding something else. And even when they had the opportunity to bring it up, things like Mon Speet and them in the past Holy War arc didn't recognize Elizabeth as this battle-hardened slayer of their kind. He only recognized her name and appearance as the one who made Meliodas a traitor. You would think someone with the title Bloodstain that even the Demon King shouldn't have forgotten and recognized. No, they didn't.
Yeah, they did. Whenever
Who?
her initial memories of her actually were back to the moment whenever they tricked them. That entire scenario, even the reconciliation of Daddy Eddie's feelings towards Elizabeth was based on the fact that her family member or her relative or whatever it was killed in that incident, and it seemed as if Elizabeth was the one responsible for tricking them. So she does have
she thought so, but remember, Elizabeth had nothing to do with that. That was a misunderstanding. And when you were actually confronted,
it's how
it does matter. She was not bloodstained Ellie at that moment. She was no longer that person. That's what I'm saying.
Like I said, her memory of her grudge is of Elizabeth, so she did remember Elizabeth. Now the bloodstained Ellie part, sure, we don't have to have recollection of that yet. But just like was it like 150 chapters ago, whenever we first found out about Meliodas' evil past, that he was the son of the Demon King in Destruction, that was the first time we found out about it. Why is this first time so bad?
But we had seen signs of darkness well before as well. When he grabbed the sword, when his eyes changed, when he got the demon mark, there were multiple points pointing that he had an evil side, and there was multiple points showcasing throughout the series as a main character. If this was a side character, if Elizabeth was a side character, it might be a little different, but because she's a main character that we've seen multiple reincarnations of, multiple past arcs of, super focused on her and Meliodas' relationship, even went into the past when they were fighting the Holy War, and no mention of this bloodstained Ellie thing or even a hint of dialogue that anybody sees her as anything but.
What in order for, because this is the problem last time too, that we assumed a certain number of chapters were left, and then we based our opinions and our storyline perception on that. So disregarding how many chapters are left, pretend like there's 1,000 chapters left. What do you need for this to be credible?
There needs to be previous suggestion. There needs to have been recognition in the story beforehand that Elizabeth was this character. I don't have a problem with her power level, like Griever was saying. She can whoop ass all day, and it doesn't really matter to me. There's a comment on actually Manga Stream which sums this up. It wasn't her power that her power wasn't set up. It was set up loads of times, like the Endura against Monspiet and Daddy Eddie. Mael asking why Galtha picked him instead of Ruducio or Elizabeth. Yeah. The problem is that while setting up Elizabeth to be that powerful, Nakaba benched her for the majority of this current Holy War arc, where she could have done anything.
Pretty much.
She could have come in and powerhoused anyone. At this point in time, she's washing the floor with the Demon King. She could have probably taken out freaking Zeldris,
the original demon,
Chandler, the original demon, all of which, by the way, never recognized Elizabeth as the blood-stained or whatever it is Ellie. They recognized her as, she's the person who stole away Meliodas. No one recognized her for her fighting prowess. No one recognized her for her ruthlessness. I feel like it's the vibe of, Griever will see it here, in the sense of there's a manga called Rurouni Kenshin. I always compare this. Mm-hmm. And he had the same kind of background. He was a manslayer. He had this really, really, really dark past, but he was this really aloof, chill guy in the present. And I feel like that's kind of what we're getting here. But like you guys have already said, that's already Meliodas' story. And it's not something which we've seen any hint of in Elizabeth. So I got big beef with that. Not going to change my mind.
Yeah. I think Grim has a point, though, because it has been pointed out a couple times that she has some fighting capability, but I understand, I'm more on the side of, it's never been emphasized that she was, this blood-stained Ellie ever. And you would even think that Merlin, with, her amount of knowledge, would have hinted at this sooner. or somebody would have. So it kind of comes out of nowhere, but I can see Grimm's point too. But it really did just kind of like, okay, it was just a weird thing.
I can understand the fact that like I'll just address how Sundown mentioned how there could have been several what if occasions where she could have applied her capabilities and been effective in combat, maybe even saved people's lives. Sure, I'm not going to get into the what ifs. We know why the author does his own thing as he's writing the story. My problem is that I'm gonna put this: if Meliodas himself chose not to do things, he even kept the only blade that he had with him that was his, even though he was the leader of an entire Holy Knight Legion, even though he was always been a warrior, even when he walked the world or walked the world endlessly freely without being tied or having any allegiance to a kingdom. He had a weapon with him. He could fight, but then he chose to not do that when he had the curse seal on him. And there's different types of oaths or different types of like characteristics, things that we know about Meliodas that differ from him back in the past. They're just different, and we don't get a hint of that stuff back in the past. So that's what I'm saying. Like, if Meliodas can go through a certain part of the story, whether we want to call it the first 50 chapters, whatever it is, before up until the reveal happened, we didn't know that he was one of the worst individuals possible. We didn't know that. It got revealed to us. I'm just saying, like, sure, we could get more information, or sure, this is like sudden and in a situation where it seems like critical, but I feel like you're only basing this off of the fact that there may be only a few chapters left, so you're calling it the end of the story. Like, there couldn't be any more development for it, and you're throwing that away. There's been so many characters in this story alone, not even in just at manga in general, but in this story alone, where they get their development in that individual instance. You know, we find out people's backstories when they're dying. That's a stereotypical trope in all anime. People don't complain about it. Shit like that's what I'm talking about. If you remove the time aspect, this is just the first occasion where we hear about Elizabeth's bloodied past, and I want to see the flashback before I complain about it.
Fair enough. I'm just saying that I don't want. For me, it's like Sundown brought up with Rurouni Kenshin and stuff, and you've actually brought it up with Meliodas and stuff. It's not about the time frame left. It's the fact that this is a main character, and there was multiple opportunities to showcase it, like they do with Himura Kenshin, like they did with Meliodas, like they did with XYZ, and they chose, and Nakaba basically chose not to. He had opportunity, especially in the Holy War arc, for somebody, even Fraudrin or Gallon or somebody, to recognize, wait, where have I heard that name before, ... and not bring up the traitor Meliodas stuff. Even that one line could have been taken, but that's my point. I kept going back through, and I kept looking, and I, as far as I know, there might have been something, but none of us seem to recall anything, and I can't seem to find anything leading up to that, and I just don't like that. I don't want to go 300 chapters. One Piece is 900 chapters. There wouldn't be an excuse for Garp all of a sudden to have been a pirate 30 years ago and his whole life doing this, you know? Like, that would be an ass pull by Oda. So why am I just because it's 900 chapters in, you know? Like I'm just saying that I don't accept things just being pulled out of nowhere, like out of Merlin's titties or Nami's titties. So I'm not too much accepting of this. As you said, if there's a good explanation, maybe, but I don't know.
He was just the wrong person to do that with, I guess, the Demon King.
Yeah.
You know what I also think is kind of weird? Is that none of the Archangels said anything about that. And like during that whole time that the Archangels were like a really big thing, they kind of treated Elizabeth like as a lesser.
Yes.
But like
Yes.
she's attacking the Demon King and like doing a lot of damage more than like Ludicio was doing, and he never recognized her strength. So it's kind of like I don't know.
Okay, really quickly, I do remember there was a point in time. I think it was when Elizabeth was trying to save. Yeah, in the flashback, when she was trying to save Dario and Mon Speed. I believe it was Tarmiel and Sariel. They had like, again, they do seem to treat her as a lesser, but in reality, like at that moment, they were like, you know what? No, we're just fulfilling Elizabeth's wishes. And at least to me, it's like you wouldn't if she was your lesser, you wouldn't treat her like that. You wouldn't like I guess like entertain her ideas like that. But at least to them, they were all like, this is better than killing them.
They always had the same number of wings, though.
In that same breath, Rudisil literally said, "We need your help to team up to take them down." Like they couldn't do it without her. but with her help, he
Yeah,
takes him out.
but she's just not a member of the four archangels. So as far as like if you were to take it as a military set, she might be the top tier mercenary they have, but she's not a general. You know, she might be the top tier colonel or lieutenant or something that they have, but she's not a general. She's not an archangel. So by the hierarchy, they, even though they respect her and stuff, as you guys have been pointing out with all three archangels showing it, and also not to go crazy into theory territory, but Mael was a young child at one point. Who was the fourth archangel before? Could Elizabeth have filled those shoes beforehand? Maybe not with Sunshine, but have filled those shoes beforehand, and then she retired in a sense. Because I fail to believe that we saw Mael as a young child. This war's been going on for eons, and so there was three archangels before, and then there was four when they found when he was born. That seems a little odd. So,
Bro, all I'm saying is that Rudy Cell said they need her help to do it. She came in, did that job. Then later on, we get told that, oh, you could have changed anybody's memories and they would have done that same exact effect. 5 people chosen or 4 people chosen. Elizabeth's one of them. I'm here for it, bro.
yeah.
I'm trying to see
No, once again, I don't.
arc and just kicking niggas' asses. I'm here for that. That's what I'm here for.
And once again, I don't think anybody's fully arguing her state of power right now. I mean, we can talk about her sitting on the sidelines in key battles, but no one's arguing the fact that she's going toe to toe with the Demon King. I think we're all just kind of arguing the bloodstained Ellie part. The title is more what everyone's a little off about, I think.
But that's only because like she doesn't seem like that like rather she's never given us that indication. Even when
Right.
she had met Meliodas, like she's always like forced the demons to leave rather than like face them on combatively. She's never wanted to actually hurt someone completely outright. Even when Hendrickson was like losing his shit, what did she do? She just kind of like released her power, but she wasn't actually trying to hurt him. It's just that goddess powers affect demons negatively.
We saw
She's never actually trying to hurt someone.
We saw 4 incarnations of her over, and she's been a main character for over 300 chapters with zero hint, indication, or foreshadowing to this whatsoever, even with past arcs and flashbacks. So I'm just saying that for me, it's even with an explanation, it's a bit of an ass ball and could have been handled better. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, that aside, Naya.
He just dipped out.
Oh damn.
He did that.
All right. Well, Fair hasn't told us either. Zeldris became the Demon King.
Yep.
What are like all your thoughts on like what's happened or like so far since he took the commandments till now?
Okay. I actually really, really like Demon King Zeldris. Like I feel the more we learn about Zeldris, the more we care about his character. And to have like this manipulative Demon King like take him over, it was more, in a sense, impactful for me at least, the Demon King taking over him. And like to talk just like basic level, like the design of him is like 10 times better in my opinion than like Meliodas was. Because Zeldris already has like that dark aesthetic to him, so to have him be the Demon King was like really cool. I just the Demon King like keeps contradicting himself because he's like he keeps shitting on Zeldris and he's like, oh wait, like his body is like almost comparable to Meliodas, and then like he keeps going back and forth, which is kind of bothering me. But like other than that, I really, really like him as the Demon King.
Do you like him more than Demon King Meliodas? Do you prefer
think
Demon King
so.
Zeldris? Yeah, because I
I
think
prefer
everyone
Demon
likes
King
him.
Zeldris. Yeah. That's pretty much it.
Well, I have a question for everyone about Demon King Zeldris, because what Mongaferi just brought up with the whole contradicting himself and stuff, that's been a big staple, because if this body was so close and so good and he was willing to take it if he couldn't get Meliodas, you're telling me he was fine waiting. Remember how purgatory time works. He had a willing host for over 3,000 years and chose to go through all this bullshit waiting for Meliodas, and it didn't work out in the end. So, just thoughts, anybody?
You know what? I brought this up many a time, and let's be honest now. He always seems like the contradicting character. I figured that this would probably be like what he would end up becoming. Not like like, oh, I called it, but it's like, let's be honest now. It's like you always had Zeldris, but you're waiting on Meliodas. Now you have Zeldris, and it's like his character kind of goes back and forth. Like perfect example, like he was complaining, he's all like, "Oh, what do you mean that the world doesn't need two demon kings? Are you just gonna like off yourself and your adorable brother, even though he cares about his father so much?" And it's like, dude, like weren't you the one talking shit about having feelings? Now you're calling your son cute and adorable. Can you fuck? Again, to me, it's like his character's kind of like going like back and forth. I don't really mind it. He's a villain. It's like like they're like, to me at least, they can go ahead and say the shit like that they want. That someone's gonna slap them eventually. But to me, it's like, this is okay. Like again, like I've always noticed, like, dude, Zeldris is willing, but you're just not gonna give it to him. All right, never had a problem with it.
Yeah,
I don't get why this wasn't the first storyline which occurred. So, like Zaza was saying, why couldn't this have just happened instead of Meliodas having achieved or obtained all 10 commandments, putting them in himself, becoming Demon King, all that good shit.
Especially when you had them all released right away, they were all standing in the same spot. It just could have been over. Like, oh, I'm 10% less powerful than I could be. What does it matter when you've literally slaughtered everyone and won the war? Doesn't matter. There's no one left to be. So you're not 100%. You're 90%, which is 50% stronger than everything. So what does it matter?
My bad. My shit died. Do I sound okay now, though? By the way, or still no?
Yeah, you sound okay.
Yeah, you good.
Yeah, but like the fact that Meliodas. Sorry, what was I saying?
Talking on the contradictions of Demon King.
Can't.
Naya, my man, what's going on with you?
Yeah.
We good?
Yeah, we good.
I think so. Well, going back to, I guess, what Grim asked originally, now that Naya's back. Naya, what do you think of Demon King Zeldris?
I still don't know if my mic's good, so I don't want to say anything. I can't tell if it's still tripping because
right now it is.
I don't know that. So let me try to fix it. Hold on. Come back to me.
All right. Sundown, what were you trying to say?
Yeah. So I don't see the point in this kind of second. The only issue I have with this kind of second storyline, apart from others, this whole epilogue, has been that, to my knowledge, and I haven't reread Taizai, so I might be kind of shaky here, but we've seen Meliodas curb stomp the Demon King. That's period. He curb stomped, and then Ban did his thing with the Demon King as well. So there's at least two guys in the current realm who can at least give him a fight. Meliodas can probably kick his ass back to front. So he comes back, and what are we going to get? Essentially, is it just going to be a curb stomping part 2? Because personally, I'm not in it for that. I don't want to see the Demon King come back, because I personally thought the Demon King, and I'm not sure, we've not discussed this before, I thought the Demon King would be a hell of a lot more impressive than he was when we saw him, and so far he hasn't lived up to any of the hype.
100%. Been complaining since chapter 300. That's why Grim tried to kick me out of the Boar's hat.
The Demon King's been trash, man.
Yeah, he was built up to be like one of the best shonen villains I think we've ever seen, because Taizai sometimes borders on not being shonen and more seinen at points. And he was building up to be a very complex, very methodical, very fourth dimensional thinking. We're all playing 2D chess. He's playing 3D chess sort of level. And it came down to cookie cutter Naraku from Inuyasha villain. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. This whole curb stomping thing where he's going to get beat again probably quite easily. I mean, Meliodas just punched him into the next dimension. But the other issue I have is, wait a sec. Wait a sec.
She got crazy.
I got to say.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, how about that?
I got to say. All right, so Meliodas is kicking his ass again. Cool. And then the Demon King now takes Elizabeth as hostage. Now we know the Demon King is he's this he's not sneaky, but he's this savvy guy, but he's not beyond doing anything it takes to win. But this, I felt, was almost, how do I say, a betrayal of his character, because not only is it beneath him, I think, it shows an element of cowardice which I don't think should be present in a character like the Demon King. So that's up for discussion, but I didn't like it.
How about now?
Oh, so they got you
That's
with your
so
mic too?
good.
Bro, y'all niggas be putting in
Finally.
that work when I'm gone, dog. I
Okay,
like it.
I don't. I had like no idea. I might be tripping sometimes. I don't know. What's the
Yeah.
question?
My fault, bro. The sky was falling outside. I had to go out, shit, put the whole team on my back this time.
We were keeping shit. We were keeping shit rolling, man.
Yeah.
But we're back to the original question you posed to Naya before you dipped, which was Demon King Zeldris. What's your opinion now that we've seen a few more chapters with him?
Demon King's whatever. Like Zelda's body looking nice and clean, but the Demon King, I just don't. I'll tell you guys, I was never that interested in him, and he's not making a better case right now. I just don't care. Like, for somebody who was part of the war or whatever and that old, did you really have to be reminded of what Elaine could do? Like, are you serious? Like, if she was that strong all this time. Like, does you remember they called her Ellie the Bloodstain? Like, did you forget, my nigga? Like, I don't understand. Like, why did he have to tell you that of all people? That shit was just weird to me. I don't know. He's not it.
You know what?
I care about more of like, how do I explain this? I may not care so much about the Demon King himself, just more about the conflict and what he brings and the fact he's in Zelda's body. Like the stakes of suspense are still high. If you're asking me how I feel about the Demon King personally, I never cared about it.
For me personally, I think it's the exact opposite of Naya. That I think he's completely disappointed me in terms of fighting wise. But I thought the character like always was the most interesting to me. Like out of most of the guys, he was like top 5 always. So to see him being fleshed out in this continuously failing debacle has been incredibly embarrassing. I've lost like a lot of respect for the character. His design in his Eldritch form looks a lot better than the Meliodas design. But overall,
because he got a dick.
Yeah, he's actually got a dick.
But just overall, like, per se, I don't mean to skip the 316 already, but like, they start off the fight and Meliodas already decks him in the face. Like, to a certain extent, I like that type of aspect in a final fight or in a fight, just to let you know that both sides have an equal opportunity to win this, and it's not going to be some ass at the end of the fight where the underdog comes out on top or pulls some bullshit to get the win. It doesn't seem like it's going to be the case. But at the same time, I don't feel like the Sins are going to lose. Like there's nothing telling me, there's no feeling that I have that makes me feel like the Sins are going to lose, and that's a bad thing. Like even with the Indra, an Indra came out, and I don't give a fuck.
I guess I could agree with that point. It's the point where like, I don't have a feeling that they're inferior. It's just like, remember how much I like Zeldris, so I just want him to be okay in the end. So that's what I care about the most. So I'm still invested in that part of the conflict.
100%. I would have to also agree with that point, because Grimm also brings up a good point though. Does anybody actually fear for the Sins' lives? I don't think anybody does. And that is a problem, because does anybody recall like the Hendrickson fight or the whole Esther Rosa thing, slaughtering Meliodas, slaughtering everybody, and basically Elizabeth trying to pick up the piece of the boar's hat while basically the Ten Commandments roam free and own everybody? That was do or die. Now it doesn't feel like that anymore, and unfortunately, it has gotten to that point. But I'm glad, Grim, that you've admitted to the point that the Demon King has been at the very least disappointing since all his mystery and hype, and now that we know more about him, and it seems that we are going.
I wasn't fanboying before. Like I hold him to the highest regard, maybe higher than you guys. It wasn't only the design, but like that whole menacing, like giant, powerful figure that. It's a cool trope. Like it's become a trope because so many people have fucked it up. But like, it's just badass, bro.
He doesn't live up to what he should be able to do on paper. Like seeing it in action. Like the stat sheets tell you like this and that and the other, and then you see him play, you're like, why is he garbage?
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you.
He should have been the Demon King of Russia. Oh wait, he was disappointing too. Never mind.
Oh damn!
Nah, but really quickly. God damn it!
What'd you say?
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
Nah, I was gonna say real quickly is that honestly he's just a villain, so I like him regardless. That's it. That's all I was gonna say.
Bro, so you said.
That's what I was gonna say. I fucks with him as a villain. Like the
Why
fact
is-
he's like,
Not
doing
wrong
underdog
black man
tactics. I
too.
fuck with that.
What you about to say, Ferry?
Okay, no, so since like we're talking about the Demon King and like you guys have pointed out like he doesn't live up to his hype, he doesn't live up to like his strength or whatever. Do you think that Endura or Endula, there's two different translations, is introduced just to prolong this arc and the fight? Because if it was just the Demon King fight, I feel like it'd be over in like a really short amount of time.
Yeah, they needed the Sins to do something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But can I say this though? It does present what I think is a unique opportunity for Scanner's character. I'm very interested to see what he's going to do at this moment.
Bro,
It's just
fuck that nigga.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
this-
Fuck
like-
that
like-
nigga.
like I always say, listen, I don't want to see him if he's not jacked and ready to fight. But he literally has the opportunity to do something intriguing with the character. I don't know what he's trying to do. So I'll keep my mind open for that portion. But definitely, we'll just summon this random demon so that the Sins are busy while we fight like the demon king.
No, my nigga, look. I'll put it to you like this. This is an actual opportunity for Arthur, not for fucking pussy ass Eskimo.
Yes.
Let that nigga die, bro. It's just all about Arthur. Bro, matter of fact, Fairy, go. You lead the way, bro. You saw you got a theory. What's up?
Oh no, because like I don't remember what chapter it was. It was a couple chapters ago when Hawk's mom was like, the king is gonna be awakened. And it looked exactly like Arthur, so he's gonna come into this picture somehow, and this is like it presents a really good opportunity for it. You're right.
But the reason
Yeah.
why I'm
So-
saying that is because I think this is like, all right. So like months ago, we were talking about Taizai Part 2. You know, Taizai the next portion shit. This is it right here. If y'all noticed, the first thing this Indra did when it came into the real world was bust a nut, and he sprayed his semen everywhere. And it seems like it's pretty strong semen. So I thought, and I still kind of think, besides this chapter kind of fucked it over, but he could bust a nut twice. We don't, he may be young. So let's say this Indra busts another nut, and then the spores go everywhere again, right? That's an opportunity for that to grow into what we just seen just now. And if that's spread across all amongst Britannia, where they can't find, as small as those things were, that's the perfect opportunity for Arthur to endeavor to beat in the next portion.
Listen, hold on. Before we even continue, the disrespect that these human characters got not being able to take out one of these things when there's like 3 of them, and I just took out like a million. I honestly bursted out laughing. They are embarrassingly terrible.
Yeah.
Well,
To roll
like
back
anybody-
because we aren't there yet though. Nah,
Oops.
we're not there. We're skipping a lot of shit too. And I just wanted to say I do agree with Manga Fairy's assessment of that the Enduro was simply placed there because Nakaba misused the original Sinner Demon, who should have been tank and was trash. They misused him, got rid of him, and went, "Oh fuck, what am I gonna do now?" And so they brought up the Endura, as Manga Fairy pointed out, simply as another distraction to make other characters relevant, to basically bring a lot of characters into a fight. Because if they all ganged up on the Demon King, as I think Sundown pointed out, we have 2 guys that we know for a fact can go toe-to-toe with the Demon King. Even if not win, they can definitely hold their own. And now we got Elizabeth there too. Plus everyone else like that just would be an unfair fight. So now we had to add this distraction in the way.
But it's
So.
not like, all right.
It kind of is,
Like I
man.
said,
It
we're on
kind of
consistency
is.
earlier, but like
Definitely.
this nigga just did that. Bruh, they just did that thing to this Indra, bro. At the same time, straight combo. And even Bond's out here flex with a new ability. Taizai isn't one where like they just show you new shit and then trash on it right away. It can happen, but that's not a routine. So like like I said before, this appearance, the design of this Indra was fucking trash, and I'm not impressed by its ability whatsoever.
Like the Endura itself, I'm excited to see what it can actually do. But so far, it's being slapped in the face. So what was the danger? And as something I brought up actually in my chapter 315 review before this was, why the hell doesn't King use his hyper beam Gyarados sunflower attack and just get rid of them all? Why is he doing Bumblebee? And at the beginning of the next chapter, they explain, and I'm like, I accept that explanation. That's a good explanation as to why you can't use sunflower right now.
Pussy shit.
So
Did
yeah,
anybody
but
notice the blonde king in this chapter?
Say again, so now?
Did anybody notice that King had blonde hair in one of the panels?
What?
Yes.
Nigga, that
It was
shit
weird.
colored, bro. What the fuck?
His hair wasn't shaded in, is what he means.
His hair was totally like not shaded at all. It was on page 15
There
at
you
the
go.
bottom. He had like Bond hair color, you know. And what is Deanne even doing here? I understand she did something in 316, like one thing, but she's literally there to be the Misty from Pokemon and complain that it's gross and it looks like a Caterpie and all this shit. That's all she's there to do. She's
Bruh.
literally there just crying and weeping and, oh, I can't attack it because it's in the air. I'm like, okay then, sure, yeah.
But which two sins? Which two sins did they say couldn't actually attack because it was out of their range?
Yeah, Gother and Deanne. Now, correct me
Yes.
if I'm wrong, but Deanne picked up 4 of these guys and threw them to Leonis. So she can't like go, here, Gother, get on my hand, hop up in the air with a marksman, an archer.
An archer,
you
dude.
fucking kidding me?
How can a guy with a bow and arrow, literally one guy who can change the size of his bow and arrow so it's freaking
And
humongous,
attack in the air.
bruh. And freaking Diane can literally summon mountains. She can create mountains just out of nowhere.
Yeah.
No, but she can't hit the things in the air, bruh.
That was bullshit. And why do they need to attack those? If they can't attack something in the air, even if that wasn't the stupidest thing I've ever heard in like months, then why couldn't they go and just attack the actual main body, the Endora, that's on the fucking ground? They do it anyways.
After, bro. Damn.
They do it after they complain.
It's too within her range. there's a balance.
Hold on, real quick. I will say this.
I'm
Technically,
gonna stop talking shit about my baby girl, bro.
About who, bro?
You did, huh?
Nani? Nani?
Look, bro, she came in, she did that thing. Diane had a problem. Remember in the Mayo fight, she couldn't fly. They made a point of that. She was falling, so it's not like she can fight people who are flying. Relax, bro. She has trouble.
No, she can't. She can't fight in the
You're
air.
telling me she could have hammered the earth and have some spice come out and kill a couple of them? Like,
Yeah, come on. Or
damn it.
She's tall enough to swing Gideon and at least get one of them.
Like, I'm not saying
And
Isn't,
Gother,
like, one of her
get on my hand. I'll give you a quick hop in the air, and he'd probably go higher than King and Bond for fuck's sake.
No, wait, you know what? I forgot this is Pokemon. She a ground type. They fly type. She can't do nothing.
She can't hit those flying types.
She can't hit the flying type. Oh, weak.
I forgot this is Pokemon. Water and lightning resistance.
I will say this: doesn't Twin Bow Harriet have like stupid range?
Are we
compared
moving
everybody
on
else?
to the next
Bro, do you
chapter?
have some muted or something?
No, or maybe it's because. All right, I'll
Go ahead.
I'll quit and come.
Zarson.
Yeah, what's up?
Zarson. Is this your phone?
Darcy.
Oh shit, y'all! Y'all calling me? Oh, what's going on? We're talking about fucking talking shit about Merlin and Gother, right?
No, nigga. What we were... Never mind, you. Go ahead, bro.
I don't even know what y'all were talking about. Y'all had me muted, so I had to fucking like stop paying attention.
I didn't have you muted. I just for some reason I.
I've tried talking for like a good like 10 minutes now. I haven't had like a sentence. Like no one's paying attention to me. I'm feeling like mad fucking sad and shit. The fuck about
I find sometimes if people when you mute yourself,
Yeah,
whenever
you're
you
right, I'm a
mute
fucking
yourself
little
and
baby.
you
Cute as
keep on
fuck.
muting yourself, sometimes like I have to quit and come back multiple times because then I can't hear people. I can see the green icon that you guys are talking. I'm like, I can't hear shit. So
Crazy. I think I heard some of the last bit. Last time I checked, doesn't Gother's Sacred Treasure have like ridiculous range compared to like all the others, like compared to like most of the other Sacred Treasures?
Was it
Like
one of the
ridiculous
it's a
range.
bow and arrow.
Yeah. Yeah, extendo range. So like, why is he like not being able to reach attacks? Like, nigga, stop
Dude.
lying.
He is literally a Quincy, and he's doing nothing a Quincy can do.
Hey man, let it go. I guess. Let it go. I guess.
Let it go. Bond literally jumped in a circle and went crazy and attacked things that were way further than his weapon can extend. I don't give a fuck. And yet somehow, and he missed only one, but Gother with a bow and fucking arrow can't hit one. That's stupid. That's stupid.
What I do like is that Nakaba actually drew like the last Indra that got away on the very last panel in the corner. Like it actually got away while everyone else got fucking just started getting like destroyed. So Nakaba art wise still good for me. Story wise,
Yeah.
Okay.
Before Grim, I know Grim's going to move on to another point, but before that, just in case we don't cover it, because I want to make sure this is brought up, is that cover pages chapter 316. Finally, either Nakaba's either watching what Oda's doing or listening to my fucking reviews because it's something I've complained about, and he gives us a heavy amount of information because there have been people in your very Discord, Grim, that have been telling me that, oh no, Monspeet and Derriere weren't becoming true Endoras.
Yeah,
They weren't. They're weakened versions, and I've been arguing. I'm like, there's no fucking difference, dude. And then right here in black and white, and this thing is actually an original Ten Commandment. That opens so many doors. That's information. Is this Zeno? Is this Aranka or whatever the fuck?
That's not the same thing that they were trying to say. Like what they were saying, that's headcanon.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying like there's multiple. It proves that point that no, Endora are just high-ranking demons that gave up their hearts. That's all they are, and the whole this one, the Endora of Favor, was reincarnated from a Ten Commandment. So that means that it's either one of the two that Meliodas killed on his way out. It's Calmadios or whatever, that one that used to have piety, or it's one that we've never seen before. Like that shit to me is world building. That's interesting, and I'm really happy to see Nakaba utilize the cover page properly.
I didn't actually notice that. Thanks for pointing that out.
Oh, no problem.
I'm still confused because from what I remember, we were told that like there are some that aren't born, like they're just born Indra, and then there are those that, if they're strong enough, they can sacrifice their hearts and become Indra. So
I don't think so. It always, as far as I was aware, when we were first introduced, it was the Monspeet Derriere thing, right? And they said when they sacrifice themselves, they can become the highest, but they lose reasoning. They become a beast. They become a beast of destruction. Endora.
Yeah, but additionally, it was either Merlin who said this, or it was in that same instance where Galen said it. But and I'll try to find the panel later on. But there are Indras who are just born naturally, born Indras. But
I didn't think so. I thought it was one of those like the purgatory thing with the shadow creatures. Like it was originally something and slowly transformed over the eons, sort of idea. But
yeah, I mean, even the cover page says that it's reincarnated from the highest ranking demons that have offered up.
Yeah, so basically,
so it's several Ten Commandments. Okay.
Yeah, so because all this said is that the Endura favor. Unlike the other variety of named Endura, the Endura of Favor are reincarnated from the Ten Commandments. It means the other Endura could just be high-ranking demons, not necessarily Ten Commandments.
Exactly.
Just something with a power level over 50,000, as Galen or Fraudrin or somebody pointed out. You need at least a power level of 50,000.
Sacrifice. That was Galen, I believe. Yes.
Yeah, and he said, so this particular one is a Ten Commandment level Endura, but the other ones may or may not be. We don't have that detail, but from this information, see, this is what I'm talking about. There's tons of information in one fucking paragraph, and it's on the cover page. That's all I wanted. That's all I wanted, Nakaba.
Listen. You're asking for too much. Don't covet things that don't belong. Okay.
Man.
So starting into 316, even from the last chapter, oh boy, King has been leading the way, putting in the most work. Like I always say, I am actually quite upset with. I guess we'll just hop into the big parts because the rest is like very bitched about it. The Holy Staff Coratus. This is its official first presentation in terms of like its full power with Bond's full power. We haven't seen it like that before, and we've seen the full extent of it. This seems like too much though. When I say too much, I don't mean as in like that. It's the same issue that we were talking about before. There is no danger here, and this just like adds upon that same effect. I don't. Why can't Bond defeat this on his own?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. I see what you're saying, but I will say this: Vampires of Edinburgh was actually the very first time we see it.
Before you begin,
I won't.
Go ahead. You're doing your thoughts on Sacred Treasure and Bond, and then talk about that if you have an issue with it.
Okay. Yeah. So, thoughts on it? Very Eastern weapon. I do fucks with it. The design is pretty intricate. I'd love to see it colored personally. overall, it's been a fucking long time coming. Like, I don't know why it hasn't fucking shown up at any sooner. But I mean, I'm pretty sure we'll get some kind of answer, bullshit or not. It'll be an answer. Um, Bond with its abilities at this point, I'm not really too surprised. But I mean, it was nice to see its special ability like the minute it gets popped out. So at least if Bond gets slapped up like next chapter, I don't have to feel too bad about not figuring it out. You know. Um, Getting on to when we first saw it. We first saw it in Vampires of Edinburgh. I think it was the second chapter of that side story. And Bond used it to behead a pretty good portion of all the vampires in Edinburgh all at once with, I believe it was Vanishing Kill. So seeing like what I believe it was 12 years ago compared to now, technically 12,000 years later for Bond, it seems everything seems to add up. Personally, I fucks with it.
Yeah, no, you see, I do like because sorry, I'm all over the place. So like the power difference between like 12,000 years ago and now is like very impressive, and like it all lines up pretty well. But like just the like range of the weapon to me seems like broken, and I heard somebody else mention it. Like he's like attacking things that are way out of his range, and it's kind of a little bit confusing. I think the panels themselves didn't really offer like that like motion of me being able to see like how he's able to do that. But it does make sense Bond being that powerful, and like to see his long time coming sacred treasure in action is really cool. It's with the power levels in Taizai, it just seems almost broken when these things happen, but it's always cool. So there's like a 50-50 thing.
Definitely me next. I don't know, man. It's the weapon like conveniently did exactly what they needed to do, kind of, and shit. And
True.
like I said like earlier, and I feel like I've brought up numerous times, but I just knew when he got his sacred weapon back, it wasn't gonna be like a great explanation. Like, you know, it's just someone was gonna have it. He got drunk one night and forgot it somewhere. I just knew that was so when it happened. I braced myself for it, so I didn't get upset because I thought people mad at it. I believe in the rule of cool. Generally speaking, if something kind of, you know, nonsensical or dumb happens, but it's really cool or at least funny, I won't dwell on it too much. And this is one of those moments, so I'm not gonna be hard. Like kind of like okay, you know, like when Deku does like the 1,000,000%, like that shit was cool. I don't think it made much sense that he was able to take that guy out with a broken arm. Basically, like that didn't make sense, but it was a cool moment. So like, I'm not gonna dwell on it. So this is one of those moments. It was fun.
Bro, that's like half a JoJo, bro. I know what you mean, bro.
I'm
No,
gonna
JoJo,
sit here.
there's nothing wrong with JoJo.
I'm
Perfectly
actually,
fine.
I'm going to agree with both
44 plot
Manga
holes
Fairy
later, right?
and Naya. Actually, I'm going to agree with Manga Fairy the fact that even though it said like the whole range and distance thing, and what Naya said about it too, because we give the explanation that this just so happens to be able to freely make irregular attacks at speed, angles, and distances at will. That seems to be convenient to the very thing they need, even though these people are super powered. Like as King points out, I could just sunflower all of them, but I might hurt the land and the animals, you know? So it's very convenient that this weapon that we never saw before comes out. I like the design and everything, but it's convenient that it's exactly the type of sacred treasure they needed for that very moment. And the fact that even with the whole irregular speeds, angles, and distances, well, he's standing there pulling a JoJo or a Kenshiro with a 100-man fist, friggin' do, you know, just in one spot. But he's hitting things that are a village a fucking way. Now, that to me isn't irregular distances. That's reality warping. And we don't see him doing a Goku instant transmission, jumping from or a Yoruichi with flash step, jumping from Baby Endora to Baby Endora, stupid fucking name, but Baby Endora to Baby Endora, you know, and individually hitting them all. He's just standing in one spot, middle of the air, and hitting things with precision that are way past the range of the weapon, way far away that there's no way he could do it. And like that sacred treasure just speaks, the ability that we've been theory videos and stuff on is just not what I expected and kind of broken for the situation, convenient for the situation that they were in. And also another thing to surprisingly note, he's
One
never
second,
used
bro.
a solvent until
You're in the Matrix.
What?
You're in the Matrix.
You're in the Matrix.
I am?
Yeah, let me
Yeah.
change the server reading quick fast.
Damn, everyone's.
You all the way to north and shit. Let's go to the. Oh damn, there is no U.S. north. All right, we're going to the west.
Everybody
All
good?
right. Yeah, I'm good.
I was just going to finish off by mentioning what Zarcel said, which was that the first time we saw it was in Edinburgh, and in Edinburgh he actually did use assault hunt as well, and we haven't seen him use that since, as far as I'm aware. We only saw him now use it again. So is that something related to a sacred treasure? He can only use it when he has it, or it's just convenient? I don't know. But either way,
I think that's what it is. Like the attack is characteristic of having this treasure, so that he can't do it without is that like, well, yeah, basically, like, yeah, like I wouldn't say fucking right hand haymaker if I'm doing it with my left.
yeah, fair enough.
I wanted to read Manga C's
And Sundown, you didn't give your thoughts, did you?
Hold on,
Nope.
I wanted to read Manga C's translation of what they consider it to be. This is page 5. It says, more so than any of the other sacred treasures, it's capable of being able to freely make attacks at irregular speeds, angles, and distances at will. And with Bond's current strength wielding it, he should be able to manifest absolute range, speed, and force.
Yes. I brought that up. I also quoted that dude. That's what we're complaining about. That seems reality warping almost.
Why?
Because if I have a sword in my hand and it's fucking 2 feet long, and I attack something that's 10 feet away with my sword, but it's still in my hand, that's some fucking Gini Chimara with a 13-kilometer extendy sword. That's not an irregular angle. That's fucking reality warping. The sword's still only 2 feet long. Like that to me is just, I'm either warping the sword, I'm warping my body, I'm going so fast that the naked eye can't see, or I'm warping reality to hit that thing with something that I shouldn't be able to, while still holding it in my hand, not throwing it, not jabbing it, not nothing. So
Yeah. See, I was actually okay. I was actually okay with Ban wrecking some of these baby Indras like generally around him. But Griever's right, I think, in the sense that he's killing these Indras from like a village away, and he's pinpointing them specifically, so he's not even damaging any of the humans around them. So I was like, they call his ability some shit like super concentration.
Hold on, I can't. Like that's the red demon that we've seen. If we can go, if I had the ability to post it up on the screen right now, we can't do it because of copyright. His nunchuck thing that he had was just smaller than his body, but he was able to reach out and pierce a red demon through its back. Like his weapon came out through its back. Like that's not possible. Are we gonna say that's reality warping? It's not. Like it's just extended. That's really like, I understand what you're saying. Like I said it before, I was the one who brought up that it's too OP, but like.
we're not given the explanation that his weapons, though, are like an extender, like Gini Chimaro's from Bleach with the 13-kilometer sword. It extends and retracts. We're not given that information. So until we are, it's kind of like in that whole, as you said, page 5, that whole explanation, could they not have said it can retract and extend at Bond's will as long as he uses maximum concentration? That would have explained away this whole issue right there. And they were in the middle of explaining his weapon and his power. So why didn't Nakaba just tell us that?
Because we've seen how he characteristically draws his combat. Like we said before, Bond isn't hitting these people by running up to them the majority of the times. He's like running past. If it's groups of people, he's hitting them in large groups at one time with single attacks or doing multiple attacks. This isn't the first time where he's used his weapon, as you pointed out with the Edinburgh flashback. Like the distance at which these people are at is not natural for you to be able to hit them. Like for the size of the weapon and how we know Bond is, you can't hit somebody that's like 10 meters away. That's not humanly or conceivably possible if you're not stretching. So.
But you just said then it's not natural. So if it's not natural, does it not warp natural reality? I mean,
is that?
And anyway, the point of the matter is Merlin pulling it out of her tits is trash.
Confirmed.
Next.
Biggest bullshit.
I can't.
The
I can't.
biggest bullshit.
Yeah, I can't say.
Nah, bruh.
It's just like, how many times am I gonna get mad at Merlin for doing nonsense? Like, I'm just not giving it my energy. It is what it is.
I'm not mad. I'm just calling a spade a spade.
I got you, but usually this would piss me off. I'm like, you know what? At this point, just
This is the first time I'm
Nah.
After the
I
water,
lose this
after
battle.
the Pokemon episode, man, after the Pokemon chapter, I haven't gotten mad at Merlin since. I've just been like, that's Merlin. Deus Ex Game Shark Merlin. I'm good.
Nah, I'm super mad because in multiple reviews I've said if Merlin pulls out Kuroshu's, that's just it. That's bullshit. She's done it in
What did she
basically
say
the
at the-
penultimate chapter.
What was said at the end of the chapter? Because it was like she gave it to him, and then like we saw his eye. He said something. What did she say? Or was that not like revealed or anything yet? Let me see.
He said something like, "Oh, I knew you had it," or something.
Oh,
like
of
Are
course
y'all
you
talking
have.
crap on my girl Merlin? Let me
Yes.
let me defend my wife real quick.
Worst
Real
character.
quick, right quick.
What? So you were the quote was really quick, Sarcel, was what? So you were the one that had it.
First of all, I'm not gonna listen to some drunk fuck that literally is like sleeping 24/7. All right, like in the bar. I don't want to hear it. Bond doesn't know anything. Okay, he doesn't know anything. He's been gone for like 12,000 years. How are you gonna tell me that you know that Merlin had it? He's assuming stuff. You're gonna tell me that he knows just because he said, "Oh, so you had it." What? How did you know she had it in the first place? Did you sneak into her stuff? No, stupid thief. Shut up. Listen, let me say something right now, right?
Zarcel,
Right?
actually,
Right?
when
Let me say something
Zarcel
right
brought that up, I literally thought he was talking about me sleeping behind my bar because behind the bar.
I thought he was. Oh my god.
And I was like, okay, I'll take it.
Okay, listen. Let me explain something to you really quickly, right? Really quickly. We want to talk about how Merlin is like bullshit and broken, right? But let me ask you a question. When Escanor faced off against Esterosa, right? And Esterosa was using a full counter, right? Like full countering all of his physical abilities. He fought the Vampire King and started slashing him with like magic fire. What happened to that? Just really quickly.
I have no idea what your point is here.
My point is, there are times in this story where like someone will do something and like we'll call it bullshit, but it's like we'll overlook other characters who do like other bullshit too.
No,
Escanor could have bypassed.
we've consistently said that the outlier or the abnormality is a scanner. He's the one that's going to defy logic because he's just that strong. We've consistently said that. And how many times is Merlin going to do it? She's been doing this legitimately from the jump, and then conveniently she forgets something mad important. Don't do that.
Stop.
I think it goes back to what you guys said too. Like she's enabling characters, like, or she's keeping characters from like reaching their full potential by her own like judgment. And that's a problem.
The problem with Merlin is that there's no story set limits on her set by Nakaba. And I know she's got infinity and all that shit, or infinite, whatever it's called. But when you have a character like that, he literally just uses her as a plot device to fix any and all issues with basically zero reasoning. It's like, yep, Merlin can hold it back. So
don't complain
Merlin
about it. You had a problem. Listen. You want a problem fixed, right?
Let me go. Look, I'll defend baby girl. Don't even worry about it. I got it.
Bet.
Listen here. You fucking English fuck. All right.
Is that?
Right? I agree. There may have been some bullshit going on with this stick that she pulled out of nowhere, but the rest of her is fucking godliness, bruh. So what if she has all the powers and all the knowledge in the fucking series? What's wrong with that? Are you saying a woman can't have those powers?
Oh my god.
Oh, don't.
Oh my god.
Don't you fucking dare, boy.
2019. Sex in 2019. You can't be sexist.
No.
He tried it. It didn't work. No one falling for it.
Manga Fairy, can you please slap him
we keep it
just a
moving.
couple of times?
We tried it though.
Speaking as the one woman here, that's bullshit.
Yeah, there. See? Told you.
All right, look, I agree. This shit was like crazy, dumbass bullshit. But like, she's been straight for the majority of the series. But give her some. Fuck nah. All right, we can't give her slack for this one time. This was too much.
No. Because when a character is consistently broken, you can't give him slack. You gotta point it out every time that shit.
Nah, I'm not going to, because Escanor can counter Esterosa's full power. I'm not going to because Bond could have defeated mad characters with Snatch. and physical hunt, but he hasn't. There's tons
No,
of
no,
times
but
where kids could have come through.
Bond has a set limitation.
A set limitation.
Yeah.
He could have stomped on Hendrickson so many
Bro,
times.
Braun put the Demon King on his knees. What are we talking about?
We talked about that before. Zarsel, I'm sorry, man. You kind of lost that one because your examples. No, your examples only proved your examples of the whole Hendrickson fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as I brought up, he had already fought Meliodas. He was already fighting, and as I said before, we've seen him not just from dying and coming back, but we've seen him from stages of using snatch and stuff, and then he can't move his body. I'm under the impression that we didn't ever see him die that many times that consecutively in a row. And to that point, remember that even when he finally, after being blown apart by Hendrickson, when he first became a Grey Demon, he was laying there on the ground reforming a chapter or two later, and he was like, hey guys, and he was doing a one-liner, and then he got cut in half again. The more times
he has literally regen faster than that.
Hold on.
Yes, but only the first time. You brought up the example with Dale. But before the fight with Dale, he had been drinking and carrying on. He didn't die 7 times before that. He got one shot at once and came back right away. But remember, how many times did he die during the Battle of the Leonis before he came back? Or how many times
did Gallon kill him before he came through and used Hunterfest? Come on
now.
The
more times that he dies, the longer it takes to be revived?
Not the longer times it takes to be revived, but the longer times it takes to get up. Because remember, now I know it's not panel for panel, but I just rewatched the ending of the anime with a friend, and remember during the entire Hendrickson fight, he, after going into the cave and stuff, after being beaten up and going to the cave and going, I killed that fat freak, boom, and he takes the Grey Demon stuff. Hendrickson does. After that, Bond gets fucking blasted into 1,000 pieces, right? Then he reforms, but it seems to take him a long time because we don't see Bond for almost most of the episode.
Was it because
he's
of the
reforming.
Attack?
Maybe, but he was reforming on the ground, remember, and he was still laying there, and he was going, hey guys, so you're really giving him a go? And then he fucking slashed in 2 again. And then we don't see him again until he kills Hawk, and when he kills Hawk, we see Bond struggling to get up.
Okay,
so I'm under the impression that he gets
hold on. What you're saying, if you go back to the beginning of the series and you look at everything, then I will take what you're saying as fact. Because I've been thinking about that shit. I've thought about it before. If you can prove that shit, bro, we can make a video. You make a video about that shit, straight up. Like,
I think I will have to, because I'm going to reread the series. I've actually ordered the last manga volumes I need up to date up till volume 31 or whatever. So I'm going to reread the series, probably live stream, but I'm also going to reread it for that stuff because Zarsel brought this up to me. And I was like, wait a minute now. That's like the only instance where he's literally regen constantly, and then all of a sudden it's taking longer, or we don't see him, or he's struggling after being brought back to life. Like from total kaboom, not just a stab wound, not just a head chop off, but on his like half his body blown apart multiple times. And all of a sudden, like he was out for the whole Hendrickson fight. Why? He was laying on the ground. Why was he?
Because okay, personally, I can't tell you that I'm a Nakaba. I'm not. But what I will say is this: there are points in time where Bond takes hits where he probably should be slowly regen, and it's like, nah, I'm back. Other times it's all like it'll take forever. Once Bond actually used an ability on Hendrickson, he uses snatch instead of like physical hunt. Dude's stupid powerful. Oh my god, he's got stupid armor. Why not use a better move than trying to rip his arm off? Why not steal all of his physical abilities and make him weak as shit? Make him literally like a sitting duck, like you did Meliodas.
Bro, I'm not trying to hop on all these.
Are we done with this reach? Merlin is dumb shit all the time. What's the next topic?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Everyone does dumb shit.
Move on to the
actual. Merlin is the queen of in the series of doing the dumbest shit. Anytime he basically he could lead on her for anything he needs at any given time. That's what she is. Next topic.
Can we bring up the fact that I brought it up in 315 and I forgot, but can we bring up the fact that this thing reminds anybody who watched Yu-Gi-Oh! The 5-headed fucking dragon thing from that filler arc after?
Damn, I forgot about that.
That's exactly what that fucking thing looks like, with lobster legs and a fucking weird heads. It's the 5-headed dragon, man.
Bro, I don't know what it is, man, but the last design, which is Zudris, is the only one that's been like hitting. Like besides that, everything else has been like mediocre or weird. Like the Sinner's design, for example, that shit was like, it was different, and that made it acceptable and cool. I don't think it's the best looking thing ever, but it's.
I liked it.
Yeah, it's notable. There's no reason to
Yeah.
shy away from that. But Meliodas is like fucking that nigga gay,
Yeah.
bro. Like
Yeah.
that nigga
I
like-
never liked the whole arms thing or the Power Ranger bodysuit. I never liked any of that shit.
It just looked like I don't know if it's like this genre like magic stuff, but like some of these like character design or villain designs, they're like too weird. One of the things that we cover in the channel is One Punch Man, and like as I've started to read One Punch Man, I've started to see different types of monsters that are non-humanoid, and like how you fight against them, because that's not like you see so many humanoid conflicts in anime. Attack on Titan, whatever maybe the situations, it's usually just humans. So you don't really see that many animals or people using techniques and sentient animals and shit like that. So like, I don't know if it's other Magic series, but there's a lot of weird ass shit out there. Like,
yeah, but that makes it unique in a sense, and maybe Nakaba's just trying something different. Like as far as the designs go, yeah, like whenever you create a series, some character designs are going to be hit and miss. For any major series, so whether they just look like normal people or not. Some people are just not going to like the design of a certain character, and they're totally human, right?
Well,
so,
I mean, but let me ask you this thing: Hendrickson or this, which looks better?
Well,
who looks better, Gray Hendrickson or this thing?
Gray Hendrickson was more
Gray
humanoid.
Hendrickson.
So, yeah, I mean, I give it, Gray Hendrickson.
Well, are you talking about the Indra?
Yeah.
Well, I suppose they're supposed to represent different things. The Indra is supposed to be this chaotic kind of sacrificial thing, which arises from probably desperation or maybe a weird sense of trying to achieve power. And then Hendrickson was this kind of demon-possessed kind of thing. So I think they're meant to be different things. Its design isn't that great. Its design is poor.
Yeah, I think so.
But even I would even accept that if there was some like scary horror type background to it, some shit like that. But it's not even really like that. It's fucking scary.
Well,
like,
we haven't been given that information yet, and also remember that fucking. No, well, once again, that's why I'm so happy with this chapter, because of all the information we got from the cover page, man. It's hard to hate. It's hard to hate when he's actually doing positive things. Yes. Now, the thing is that the sketch, I think the one above all in the Discord, he always is posting it. The sketch of this thing was actually better and more menacing. And also remember that this isn't the only Endor. The Endor from that movie, it's still a sketch by Nakaba, was more like a Ankylosaurus mixed with a fucking like dragon sort of idea. It looked more form-fitting. Like that thing was a cool looking design and stuff. So maybe he just chose the wrong one sort of idea to showcase. And as you said, we didn't really get a backstory, like maybe each head represents something they hate about themselves in a past life or something really horrific. We didn't get that information, but it could be there,
I do like the head designs, maybe not the tentacle one, because that's kind of like, hentai territory, but I do like the dragon heads. It's just that, like, the bug leg is like, maybe if you, like, had that as like the arms, give him like some real dragon legs, like mix and match some stuff. He could have, used like a better design. But again, overall, I don't really mind the monsters because it's supposed to be freaky and ugly looking. If it's a shitty design, someone's gonna kill it. So be happy, someone will kill it.
Bro, I'm just saying the fucking the only one that I liked was Dedier. She looked like okay, like she looks like she's about some shit. But like the rest of these, they look like I don't know if that's the right word. Like
you didn't like Mon Speed's Enduriform?
Trashiest shit I've seen.
Because Grimm is a furry, confirmed. Because that's what Derriere turned into.
How do you go from top 5 designs because of Monspier? He has a top 10 like base design to like just gruesome disgustingness, bro. Like it's.
That's what the Enduras are. They're beasts. They're not supposed to be pleasant, man.
Yeah, it's like a Cthulhu type thing with like multiple arms and stuff.
Look at if anybody here has ever watched the series Lucifer. It's now on Netflix, owned by Netflix. There's a perfect example. You have Tom Ellis, a handsome fucking British man, tall, dark, handsome, and then all of a sudden, but he's got the devil face that he doesn't show to people, and when he shows it, he's disgusting and burnt and ugly, and that's who he really is. He's covering up with prettiness, but it's not really who he is. So it's the same idea with these Endora or the Ten Commandments. They all have these pretty humanoid faces that girls would go, oh wow, or even guys would go, oh wow. But then fucking you got, you know, their true side, their true nature, which is at the end of the day the beast of destruction. It isn't supposed to be majestic or pretty. It's an ugly thing based on hate and anger and all that shit, right? So I'm fine with it.
Man, I'll leave it to you guys, and you guys can enjoy the fucking Indra's design. I think that's just trash.
Now the design is trash, but
Yeah,
it suits its purpose, I think.
I don't have any real opinion on it. It's just a fucking thing. Like, I don't know. Whatever.
That's what I've been saying. Like,
the
yo,
final
someone's
thing
it's
to
just
be
a
bad.
monster. It's just a monster.
Nah, bro. I want
That's
the
all
final
it
thing
is.
to be like. Sometimes niggas have or stories have ends where it's like each main cast member is fighting individually. That's cool too, but that's not the case here. Or they're all fighting one big beast. So I want that big beast to be like a Henderson type thing. He looks cool.
I have a question
He's
for you
doing
then.
cool shit, and he's powerful. I don't care what this guy thing does because like, first of all, it's getting fucking smacked. It doesn't look cool when they're smacking it. So like, what am I doing?
Okay, then I have a question for you. Monster King Orochi.
Oh my god.
I'm not gonna hate because I thought he looked kind of cool in certain shots and stuff like that, and like this is one of my gripes about One Punch Man. Everyone like I like One Punch Man. Don't get me wrong, but everyone hypes it up like crazy when it's all 50. At least half of that hype is due to the amazing artwork, not necessarily how cool the design necessarily is. It's just that the art is so detailed and
Crazy as
menacing
fuck.
and awesome angle. No, I'm just saying, dude, because this thing is a mess of monster heads and stuff. Orochi is a mess of fucking snakes and dragon heads built into a man body
No,
with a mask, with a Majora's Mask reject on its face.
but what you're saying is a compare. Like what you basically just said is that like it's only cool because it's drawn well. Like, are you telling me that
I'm just defending.
if a 5-year-old were to draw a body with 5 heads on it, you're telling me that that's just as cool as what Murata draws? Or no, Makima draws?
No, not at all. What I'm saying is that sometimes the art speaks for itself. If Murata were to draw this thing in his style, you would probably accept it better because he's a far better. Or a Bocce, the dude from Sunken Rock and Dr. Stones.
Strong point.
If he had taken this 5-headed beast with all these weird heads and lobster arms or legs and all that shit, and he had drawn it, you might accept it a little more. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it makes the
So
manga viewers.
So Nakaba can not only not tell a story, but he can't draw as well.
As I said, I don't have much of a problem with the design. Does it look great?
Like,
No.
That's why I don't agree.
Y'all
with
better watch your mouth because Nakaba out here with some pretty
that's
good
why I don't
artwork.
agree with what Griever said, and why I think this is like even different with that because in One Punch, like there's lore or there's reasons to add to the horrific situation of a monster. Like it's not like in this magic situation where you see chibi characters or like shit like that all the time. That's a joke in One Punch Man. But like in Taiza, that's realistic. Like Elaine is there all the time. You see that character. In One Punch, when you see something that's like horrifically scary, it could actually like, if you were to imagine that in the real world yourself, that would be horrific scary off the bat. But it ties that some of these things are just like, they're not even scary. They're just weird looking, which could be creepy. But like, creepy isn't the same thing as like horror. They're not the same exact thing. So I can agree with what you're saying that like the quality of the art also adds an efficient or a large amount of the like as to why you feel a certain way of it or the aroma of the picture. But at the same time, like
I'm not saying it's all of it. I'm saying that if Bocce or Murata were to draw the same design, say give me 5 heads, roughly looking like this, as you said, a 5-year-old's drawing of this, and they were to take that as inspiration and draw the same thing, then it would be, you might enjoy it just a little better. I'm not saying 100%. I'm saying maybe just a little more. That's all I'm saying. And I think Manga Fairy was trying to say something too.
Yeah, what's up, Fairy?
Oh no, I was just saying like all the monsters like in Taizai are all kind of like you said, like they're just weird looking and they all kind of look similar. Like when it's just a really like weird beast kind of thing, like it's just like you don't really know what you're looking at and you don't really have that sense of fear because it's just a random like jumble of like nonsense.
Yeah.
Because like you look at this thing and it's just abnormal.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, but like you said, like dragon heads and all of that, like you have that sense of like, oh shit, that's badass. But this thing is just weird. So it's yeah.
I don't know.
I
I feel.
mean-
I feel. Sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Nah, I was gonna say, I mean, having like 7 hearts is pretty abnormal too, but no one talks shit about Meliodas.
I mean, this is more of an artwork kind of argument.
That's all.
Yeah.
No, see, that's the idea. Is that like
You're right,
appearances
you
are
can do
not.
that.
It's supposed to be abnormal. Like it's a demonic thing from like a demonic realm. You're not really supposed to understand what you're looking at. At least in my perspective, it's supposed to be a freaking freaky ass monster. Yes, the design is ugly, but it's just a monster. It's not that big of a deal.
I get
I
what you're
think
It's
what
for
we're
me.
saying is like it doesn't radiate like demonic, like what we're
Yeah.
used to thinking when it comes to demonic. Like when I look at it, I don't think demonic. I think like what the fuck is that?
Yes.
Yeah. What gets me is
I think ultimately it depends on like what you. I don't know what you expect from it. I think I completely understand it's a means to an end just to keep them busy. So I didn't expect them to go all out on it or like make it look really cool or raw or something. So like usually if I've already have a certain mindset about the way something's gonna be in terms of okay, so like your line April, I won't spoil anything, but something happened and I braced myself for it so long ago that when it happened, I didn't feel anything because I'm already ready for it. And I see this and I go, this thing is just there to keep them busy. So I'm not even gonna put any energy to whether or not I care about its design. It's just here to just be here for now. So that's just my
Which
two
is
cents.
unfortunate what you're saying, Naya, because at the same time, we finally, as I keep preaching on, we
I find in hindsight, why did we
lore.
waste all the Ten Commandments? We waste all the Ten Commandments for like no reasons in hindsight. Like why not wait too quickly if no one's gonna really want to fight and game? Like this was just
I mean,
one
Zelda's
misstep.
still technically.
I've been saying this for fucking forever. That
Could've
at
done
the
all
end of the
this
day,
with them.
that they're wasted. Every last one of them was wasted. What did Mont speak
No,
to anyone
no.
else?
I would argue that Gloxinia and Dolar or Droll or however you say his name,
Besides those two,
they
pretty much
had an
every last one was
epic
wasted.
way out. Yeah, they
Yeah.
were. I was okay with them. The rest of them, because they were also fleshed out more. The rest of them, Galen was used as a plot device to showcase Escanor's badassery. Zeldris is still active. Esterosa was a means to an end for Male. And the rest of them, yeah, what did they do again? So, and even if they look cool, like I liked Mon's feet a lot.
Tighten up.
Yeah.
Hell motherfucking no. You're not finna slide over my baby girl Maricilla. She was in everything to this story, bro. She was everything to this story, bro. Bond wouldn't be Bond without Maricilla. Hold on, bro. Who's fucking washing their ass?
That's me. I will actually have you not washing my ass. I'm washing my toes, and I'm filling something up right now.
Damn,
My bad.
bro,
Well, it's
get yourself
because
baby
your sperm soaked.
Yeah, I saw Merlin doing some bullshit, and I couldn't help myself. Kind of made a mess. Gotta clean some shit up. My bad.
Dude,
That's
she
what Zarus was all about.
3-year-old.
Yeah,
See,
I'm all with the bullshit.
Yeah, we're all sitting here looking at that, and we're just like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, but on the topic of the Indra, I think the issue with it for me was that this is meant to be, especially from the cover page paragraph, it's meant to be the Indra of favor. You want to recognize this beast for what it is. Like Orochi, you see him in One Punch Man, it's that guy. You want to recognize the Indra of favor for what it is, and it's kind of just this poorly designed lump. So I kind of agree with Grim in the sense that I know that it's a means to an end, but you could have put like 10 minutes of effort in. Come on.
Yeah, man. Like this
A little more effort.
It ain't like I know some of you guys.
He might have fucking syndrome because it's almost done. He's like, damn, like we almost out of here. Fuck it.
I need a
Yeah,
big fight
but
though. Like this is like
the story was done like an arc or two ago, so he could have just stopped there too. But
Yeah,
I'm
not
wondering,
gonna
does
lie.
anybody know how long this is going on for? We could get, for all we know, we could go to chapter 400 at this point because he's already told us once. I don't fucking know anymore.
this was
We can get a whole nother arc after this. So that's why, as Grim pointed out, I'm trying to maintain my expectation, and I'm not so mad about the Bloodstained Alley thing as I would be, or the whole Merlin pulling shit thing, or anything like that, because there's still potential for explanation as to why we're not trying to wrap up the series anymore in the next 3 weeks that we thought. So there's more time as far as I'm aware. So keeps your hopes up a little bit.
What
No,
I'm
I'd still
saying
be
is
mad.
that this is the final endeavor. There are characters who I want to see have like another drawn out fight. I didn't expect their fights or their final battles or their final stances to be like 50 to 100 chapters ago or like 2, 3, 4 years ago. So like I'm still expecting something like that. I don't want it to be just Elizabeth and Meliodas fighting tag team. I don't want it to be just Bond taking care of a monster in the lead or some team fight like that. I want to see niggas putting in work, all of them. I want to see Gauther put in work. I want to see Diane put in work. I want to see more Merlin shit. The final battles are supposed to see where you get the entirety of what they could do, or them at their full power, or them in a merciless state, or like more extensions, more in depth of that for the final time. And I don't think we're gonna get that at all. I feel this is rushed.
Well, I feel like personally we should have got that the first time and not had it this time, which this is just an addendum, and that's why I'm not enjoying it. This is kind of just an appendix to the story, and it's like, oh, by the way, this also happened.
It
I would
does
have
feel
preferred
like
it
that.
if, yeah, I would have preferred it if we'd got the epicness of first. If we'd had legitimate power scaling, we would have had an awesome ending where everyone's putting in effort, everyone's putting in work, people get time to shine, kick ass, drink cups of tea, win, good stuff. But none of that really happened.
I also
Honestly, just
felt. Sorry.
just really quickly. Honestly, I believe Naya said this before that power levels are pretty much useless. Show me the exhibition of ability, not like explain to me. Like I'd rather be shown. And I do agree with this at this point because power levels or this combat class, whatever, is pretty much what fucked up Taizai. Once you added in the numbers and everything, at that point it really did fuck everything else up because people kind of use that as like a basis to be like, oh yeah, he's stronger than him. This is better than that. He has, he's twice as powerful because of this number, and this number is like 3 times as much as that guy. And it's like, if like that alone kind of threw off most like the actual scaling of the story for me at least. Because at this
Yeah,
point,
but
it's all
that's-
like, well, what's the fucking point?
Yeah,
That's why I really like.
I try not to get too mad with like longer battle, battle shonens longer on them because they kind of skew the powers towards the end game most of the time. It's very rarely where I'm like, this was really solid all the way to the very end.
Not in One
So-
Punch.
And people should have learned. People should have learned from Dragon Ball Z a little
I don't
bit.
know. I don't want to go into this right now because my opinion on One Punch Man is not the same as yours. I don't read it for the same reason you guys read it. So
I know, baby.
You read it from Fubuki, don't you?
no, I liked like the mundane shit where like Saitama just like shopping.
yeah. I literally, I read it for most of that too. Honestly.
like the satire, like that kind of stuff. That's what I'm
Yeah.
going for. Like I like generally lose more interest when fights are happening, unless it's a character I really like Metal Bat or something.
Yeah. One of the things I wanted to bring up was that's the thing is that power levels number game after Dragon Ball Z, which everyone stipes is like it wasn't that great. It's all nostalgia and stuff. I'm like, yeah, but how many shonen manga like artists learn from their mistakes? Everybody complains about the power level system in Dragon Ball Z, yet so many shonen then use a number system. Stop using the number system.
But that's lazy. I hate any series that tries to literally quantify power numerically.
Right.
I have 100,000 more power than you. Like, are you guys serious?
You know what was great? You know, one thing that I actually liked was in Bleach, they never gave a number. They just, when Ichigo would run across and then spiritual pressure would actually push him down because the presence of someone super strong was actually like, if you're not in their tier, not on their level, but if you weren't in the same category, you were being pushed down to the ground to your knees.
Couldn't even handle the pressure.
That was a good.
Breathless, and he still
what I'm
talking
saying
about
is,
I don't want to hear that.
That was a good representation. At the very least, in the Soul Society arc, and up to that point, it was consistent. And even as far as the Aranka arc, that was consistent. That power, spiritual pressure, which is something you gave off the stronger you were, was able to actually pressure people. They'd make them sweat. They'd make them fall to their knees, things like that. They didn't need a number to showcase, okay, this guy's in another league. And they do the actual same thing in One Punch Man and stuff because characters with that foresight, they don't really showcase that. But even Orochi and stuff, like in one of the latest chapters, he went, okay, Saitama, you don't look intimidating, but I know, like, there's something in me telling me you are dangerous. You know, that same thing is applied in Bleach and in One Punch Man. And I appreciate One Punch Man for doing that same thing because they go, we're not going to give you a numbers game. They do S ranks and stuff, but that's hit and miss for 1,000 reasons, as we all know. So, but they actually showcase, okay, certain monsters of a high enough level recognize how powerful Saitama is. and that showcases the same idea. You don't need numbers or ranks or anything to prove strength anymore. So that's really good.
mean,
I like that.
hold on.
I will give
hold on.
Taizai this. Them kind of dividing it into 3 categories. It did offer a little more. With like, was it against spirit, magic, and physical?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Physical
at least
strength.
they kind of tried to do that. So sometimes you could argue someone was like, they're more magic, but they couldn't really, they weren't physical. But I still like, I'll always hate any series that tries to quantify how strong someone is with numbers. I don't mind ranks. I don't mind a general tier, but like literally a number, I'll slap you.
Since we're talking about power levels, can we talk about how stupid Gil Thunder, Hauser, and the rest of them were in this chapter?
Please.
And
Thank
their power
God.
levels,
Yes.
how they're shitty
Yeah.
they are.
I've been waiting to roast them.
Okay.
Yo,
Good.
And hold on, real quick. I just want to say this. I don't understand why at this point they're even still alive. Like, by luck, coincidence, divine providence, like they should have died like 10 times over ages ago. Oh,
Bro.
aggravating!
First-
Absolutely aggravating. Because I love those characters so much, and it's like look at this shit. Look at all this shit. Like, what was the point of the Druid arc? What was the point of that? What was the point of training at all? Honestly.
Okay, listen. Everyone, just listen for 1 second. I know that these guys have become the Yamcha Tien Krillin trope of the goddamn Majin Buu arc. I know that. And it's unfortunate because they had opportunities to grow better and be relevant characters, but they didn't. But
they didn't.
I'm going
No, they
to
didn't.
I'm going to be a grim advocate here because there is one cool thing. Even though it didn't pan out, it is still badass because it's a callback to something that's been missing from Taizai for a while that was heavy in the first arc. It's a Trinity attack, a combination attack. Hexagonal Graveyard was still an awesome thing to see. It still looked cool, and if they had gotten the proper power boosts throughout the series that they deserved and should have gotten, then this you're right. This would have been cool. This would have been a badass triple attack that they could have said, we're back. Like, you could have taken away Gil Thunder, Griamore, and Hauser for a while, put them back with the droids and said, we are not strong enough yet. We will go back and we will finish that dragon this time and stuff. Then they could have come out with a power level of, they didn't need to be Meliodas level. They didn't need to be 60,000, but they could have come out and being 25,000. And between the two of them, if all 3 of them were like, I'm 22,000, I'm 25,000, I'm 20,000, and then they combined all their magic into some Trinity attack that they just did, that attack could have been epic, But instead they were wasted. But still, I gotta give it.
No, you bitch! You're not getting away with this. That shit was not cool.
Okay.
They have become so insignificantly worthless that a thing that they can wipe out hundreds and hundreds of, like, with no effort, they can't beat one.
Yeah, pretty much.
That is embarrassing.
No.
Do you remember Dragon Council?
You're basically telling me, okay, they ran a nice play, but did the ball go in the basket? I don't give a fuck if they miss. No.
Dude,
no.
Okay.
No.
Hey. I'm not happy with the result. Dude, I'm not happy with the
No.
result. I'm not happy with the result, and I can admit that. I'm saying the potential for this at this stage to be awesome, and the idea of this Trinity attack was a great concept and totally misused 100% by Nakaba by not.
They get it washed by a little bug. Oh my god!
I know.
Yo, listen.
I call it. Hey,
I just
before
want to
That's
slide in and say
Nakaba's
the fact
fault.
that King said he could have handled it himself. The exact same thing.
Yo,
I
dog,
called him-
I could beat that thing with a gun. I know I can.
Yeah.
No, you.
I want to see that.
Whoa, you Canadian. You're not allowed to know what a gun is. You're not American.
Yeah, give me a gun. I'll beat that thing. One, I can beat one. Fuck out of here.
Get a hockey
Especially
stick.
the bus with guns.
Bruh, that shit look like a lick of tongue, bro. Just throw a Pokeball at it, it's all good.
But like,
So many
okay.
Pokemon references.
Oh,
Like
that's easily one of the funniest things that's ever happened to Taizai. Easily. Oh my god, I can't believe that game got
Yeah.
washed by that thing.
Oh, I admit, like, it was like, oh, is this gonna do something? Like, that's what I'm saying. Before they got washed, it was like, okay, they're doing something new and cool.
Yeah,
And
listen.
the most
Are you
disappointing
reading
part of the
Taizai
chapter.
like me? Are you like hold on? Are you reading Taizai like me? Because last time I checked, we stopped caring about the actual human characters. Escanor, Bond, them niggas honestly shouldn't even be considered human at this point. I mean, Escanor now, sure,
They
yeah.
kind of said that he's
Beforehand?
not human level anymore.
Exactly.
Bond.
Right. But the idea. Is that at the end of the day, I knew they were going to get slapped up, and just seeing it happen while knowing that it was going to happen anyway, I was like, what the fuck am I even like reading this? Like,
In hindsight,
I could have
you're
stopped
right.
in the chapter.
I should have expected that. But I'm sorry. I'm like, okay, just one. They should be fine. No, they weren't.
Yeah,
Just
see,
so
the
slapped up. It
the
was
thing is-
honestly embarrassing.
I'm like,
Yeah,
all right,
nah.
it's Guild Thunder too. You know what I'm saying? Like, he had his moments. I say,
you
yo,
wanna say,
what?
Yeah, now the thing is, like, I fully expected it to happen, but especially with like Gil Thunder, maybe a little less Grimoire, but Hauser as well. These guys have been there since the start of the series. They could have at least taken one freaking Licky Tongue out.
Okay,
Brandon.
listen.
Hold on,
Just
hold
real
on,
quick,
hold
real
on.
quick.
Hold on. What you about to say, Fairy?
Okay. No, I think it just goes to show that Nakaba, like, okay, I think somebody said it, like, nobody cares about these characters anymore, and in a way that's true. When we think, like, Taizai, we don't think about those characters, we think just about the main ones. But I think that goes to show that he's not paying that much attention to, like, those characters and not giving them the power levels that they deserve and that they should have had throughout the series and, like, grown, the way Griever was saying. And so when he just, like, brings them in just to bring them in, it's just so pathetic and, like, it's just we don't care about it. And the fact that any of the 7 deadly sins could have literally slapped one of these spores and it would have died, and they used like a awesome like Trinity attack, which was emphasized early on in the series that it should be way powerful, literally didn't scratch it, is like stupid. Like, why was that even a thing? It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Like, why try when you
I
know you're
agree.
trash? Why try when
agree.
you know you're trash? Like, that's what, like, yo, that's just why I don't play basketball, because I know that I'm trash. That's why I'm
Listen
not
to me,
going
listen to
for
me,
it.
bro.
Dead ass.
What should have
I
happened
agree.
was that Guild Thunder should be like what the fuck is it? Great Holy Night level right now. Like high. And all Great Holy Night should be like fucking Diane level. Like current Diane.
101.
No, okay, listen.
All
Guild
Great
Thunder is
Holy
still
Knights of
diamond
every
rank.
single hold over. In order to make the threat, or like, because back then they told us that that kings and humans, they can fight demons, like capable demons right now. I don't see why we wouldn't get back to that time period with at least 1 or 2 guys. At least Hauser and Guild Thunder, to be honest. Because, fuck, bro, like, that's what's supposed to happen.
I'll tell you
bro.
why. Grim, I'll tell you why. The first mistake was when Hauser and Gil Thunder got out of the fucking cave with the druids and only increased their power by a couple hundred, not a couple thousand. That's what
Honestly.
should have happened. But it didn't happen. And it should have. That's the problem. Nakaba made the same mistake that he did with Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball, everyone was okay. Yamcha, Tien, Krillin, everyone was okay. They can still fight. Dragon Ball Z, we saw moments where it was like, okay, we got this, this. But at the end of the day, the human characters in Dragon Ball Z, it was all about the Saiyans by the fucking Frieza saga. It was by the Saiyans nearly by the Saiyan saga. So they made Piccolo relevant a couple times. And the problem is that they did the same thing in Taizai. They showcased these badasses, Gil Thunder, and I like Hauser and Grimoire just fine, and Dravis and Hendrickson are awesome. But they're useless now, and they're trying to. And I agree with everyone who said that. And Naya even brought it up. He goes like, that attack doesn't mean nothing because they didn't they didn't score. So what does that fucking matter? They made an awesome play, but if it doesn't work, who cares? And that's the problem. Like, this had the potential to be so fucking cool, and it wasn't.
Why would it be? They're humans. When was
Yeah,
the
but
last
it
time you
would
ever
have
saw
been
it?
if it had killed the fucking
Keep
thing.
it pushing because we gotta head out soon. The final portion of the discussion is over some trashy ass shit. So this has
Greatest.
potentials to be pretty cool, I guess, or nice, or the redeeming factor. But I'm really not invested in it. But Escanor, what are your thoughts?
How the hell? That's my question. How the hell? How are you not dead yet? How?
Okay. I'll just go real quick. Once again, I always liked Escanor, and I believe there was a Boar's Hat with just Sundown and Grim. Actually, probably I think it was almost last year. Fuck's sakes. And Sundown brought up the fact that Escanor is the embodiment of an actual chivalrous knight. Like, he's the most knightly character in the series, writing poetry, being honest and brave and all that shit. Like, he's literally the embodiment of what it is to be a classic, like from classic literature. So I fuck with that, and I'm good with it. Like Escanor's always been that way, and I never saw him as cowardly. He just knew that like in nighttime, like why would he try to be courageous at night when he just has to wait for morning to show up, right? So now we're seeing his character, and I love the fact that he's looking like young fucking Link with the Kokiri sword and shit. But he's there, and he's there to, as he said, like we're the old guard. I don't have much time left, and there's 1,000 theories about that, or it could be as simple as Sunshine killed him. But he's dying anyway, so he's like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna defend these young guys because they have a long life ahead of them. I'm in my like 30s, 40s, and I'm on my way out anyway from some cancer Sunshine shit. So." I'm gonna do my job, and I think that we're gonna see something surprising. I hope Knockabout pulls out something great.
Someone else.
Yeah, I like 100% agree with Griever. Like and I've noticed this throughout the series too. Like if you just pay attention to his character and compare him to the other Sins, everyone in the Sins has done like these selfish deeds, and they're not really good people if you pay attention to it. But he's always stayed like really true. He just helps other people, and like even when he's like his pride Escanor, he's prideful, yeah, but like he's not an intentional asshole, or he doesn't act like an asshole towards people. And so to see him like in such like a pitiful state and like this going on like really sucks, and like to see like where is it going, but it does offer some character development because he's always been like cowardly when he's not his prideful Escanor. So to see him kind of stand up for these guys is like really cool. I just want to know more about like his timing, or him like dying, and like what all of that is about, because it's just up in the air now, and I'm more curious the more it just gets brought up.
Yeah, I think I briefly spoke about it earlier, but I'm sorry, I didn't even know we were doing both chapters at one point, so that was my bad earlier, by the way. But I just think he has an opportunity to something intriguing with him here. I don't know what. I mean, there's still like how he even really got his grace in the first place, the backstory, how he got his sin. There's so much to do with Escanor still, I think. This is an opportunity to make me care about him when he's not like buff and fighting. So let's just see what he does. I'm not like I'm not leaning into it too much. I'm not disinterested. I'm somewhere in the middle. I'll see what and I'll judge it from that.
No.
Seeing him like with like no actual metal armor, but also suited up is a thing. Care of life, shit. At the same time, damn, fuck. Am I better now? No.
My nigga.
Am I good? Yes or no? Just like tell me.
Bro, you have to disconnect it.
Jesus Christ.
He always does that. He'll just
there
like
we go.
He'll do nothing. He'll do nothing.
You,
just am I good now? Like you gotta.
I just wanted to know.
Zoso, have you not seen me disconnect and reconnect like 3 times per stream every time we do it? There's a reason.
Honestly, I'm at work, so I don't see shit right now. But what I will say is this. Okay, what I will say is this. At the end of the day, you really don't. It's shit. At the end of the day, it's like this. I understand that he doesn't have his power or anything, but it's like he looks just as pitiful as like the rest of them. So like a part of me is all like, yo, y'all about to get like mixed. This entire kingdom is doomed. This entire kingdom is doomed. I know it for a fact. But at the same time, I do fucks with the fact that he's like, like he really is with the shits. He's like, I'm probably gonna die, but I'm out here. I can't be scared. I do respect that about him. He still has my respect. At the same time, it's like, what can these guys really do as they're all so weak against this one thing? Like, I get it, it's supposed to be like a really uplifting moment, but dude, legitimately, I don't see a change in this in the situation. Like, he blocked the attack, he still got fucked up. Like, adding Escanor as how powerful he is right now, really, like, to me at least, doesn't seem too substantial. I'm thinking maybe like next chapter, he rallies the troops and like the humans do like, it's like some cool like strategic stuff. That'd be interesting. We could have had that most of the story. I mean, remember how that one Holy Knight fucked up Matrona?
Mm-hmm.
As like caused the end to get like incriminated, so that she would almost get her like her head chopped off. Like that was some shit that I was waiting for like the knights to do throughout most of this arc when like the demons came back, but we never got any of that. So if we do get something like that, where like we can highlight on some human characters that are kind of weaker, that'd be cool. Also, I love seeing human characters die. Like I like actually watching Holy Knights get killed. So no real qualms from me.
You
It's
was
just
a
that like
district motherfucker.
I mean, we all know that the Hendrickson fight was the best fight in all of Taizai, hands down.
What?
Yeah,
No, we
Hendrickson fight was the
don't.
best fight. Yes, to me it is.
I agree with that.
You stupid
I agree with
bitch!
that.
You
Why
tried
you
that.
always
You
lie?
tried it. We don't agree.
Excuse me.
Speak for
Excuse
your
me.
damn self.
The only one who decides such things is me.
No, it's me.
Done.
Like he said, who
He
is
tried
that
to
guy?
speak for everybody. You stop.
I kn- Tell me if I thought it was better than that one. Tell me if I thought it was better than that one. That was more.
The
It got
only
so
one who
quiet just
decides
there.
such
It
things
got
is
so
me.
quiet just there.
I literally
Crazy.
think Esterosa Scanner was the peak.
Yes, 100%.
Probably. Okay,
Manga,
Meliodas
manga-wise,
versus Ten Commandments. The Archangels versus the Commandments.
Escanor
Proximity and
versus
Dolor
Meliodas
versus
was
Meliodas.
epic. Referring-
What's going on, bro? It's too many out here.
Stop.
Stop this.
Okay.
Stop.
As
Stop.
Grim said, we're short on time, so I want to know what Sundown has to say about all this shit.
I liked the fact that Escanor, like Grievous said, he embodies the whole kind of archetype of this is what a knight is. This is the characteristics they should display: honesty, chivalrousness, and bravery, all that good stuff. Whether or not he should have been sliced in two, because that Lickitung kind of cut straight through the shield that Graham will put up. So I'm not too sure whether he should be standing. But yeah, I really liked it. Embraces his character completely. Some decent actually writing and thinking on Nakaba's part. Good job.
Trash.
But I'm hoping because it's one of those situations again where I don't really fear for Escanor because I'm feeling we're gonna get some dirty power up from somewhere, which tends to be the kind of Taizai thing. And I feel like he might either he'll be on death's door or something like that, and he'll have some sort of vision of Sunshine saying to him, "You were always the one," or some shit like that, and then he'll assume buff form, or he'll awaken what should be his own ability because we haven't really seen anything from him, where he has his own specific magical ability.
You gotta wonder, like, if there was some quality about him, even as this form, that caused him to even get the grace in the first place. So there's
There has to be.
There's a lot of variables.
Damn theory
True.
videos, please. I made 3 of them saying this 100 times. He had a quality. Sunshine didn't go to anybody for 3,000 years. Why Escanor? Well, either his original magical power, his sin, Rosa is Sunshine, Rosa is Rita. There's something about Escanor. He might be the king of legend. We're all sitting there thinking it's Arthur. Nakaba could pull a twist like the whole troll ending bullshit and go,
Well,
you all forgot he was a prince?
Yeah, exactly.
There's 1,000 things to go on.
Did
There's-
Napogo forget? Don't ask me. Did he forget? Can I get some
No,
more
no.
backstory, nigga? Damn.
True.
But I do. I do think.
More backstory dead.
I do think that Escanor is going to stay alive and possibly be like the guy that hands down the torch, kind of quote unquote, to Arthur, and
Bruh.
teaches
Good,
him
yeah.
Watch
what a
that
knight
tone.
with
Watch
a
that
king
tone.
should be like. Watch that tone with what Arthur kind of been shit this whole time, bro.
No, the passing of the torch. I would not like that. Like to me at least, like I'm thinking, damn, don't get that nigga like Sunshine. That'd be garbage. Don't do that.
But he can't give away Sunshine. He don't got it.
That's true.
Yeah, no,
I don't
the
want
male
Male
could
Comfort, that's it.
come down and give him. Remember, once again, it's borrowed. I'm still leaning on that word borrowed. It's borrowed. Once again, this could be a Deadpool thing. This could be a Venom Eddie Brock thing where, yes, the symbiote was killing Eddie Brock, but it's also saving his life at the same time. So without Sunshine, Escanor dying fucking faster. And also, I just want to point out one thing because people are saying, like, how the fuck did he tank that with Gil Thunder and everyone? Does everyone remember that a drunk Gallon with a power level of physical strength of 20,000 slapped Nighttime Escanor across the bar? A human of 15 power level, and then he woke up.
Because pilots are bullshit. I mean,
It's
Right,
the
but
mustache.
power levels are bullshit, but I'm saying that a physical
mustache saved him.
strength 20,000.
stop.
You heard it here first.
Just
You're lying.
saying. And he got up. Like, he had to wait for Sunshine, sure, but did Escanor die? No. So the dude might, as you said, power levels of bullshit. Same idea because Escanor still got up. Would Escanor get up? If you choked the life out of nighttime Escanor, you're telling me that all of a sudden, like, was he dead laying on the ground in the bar for 4 hours and then they waited till morning? I don't know.
I don't remember though.
Yeah, but I'm sitting there saying like the dude took a hit from a 10 Commandment. The same dude that could jump faster than Merlin, broken fucking Merlin's spell could reach. So let's just use that for a little bit of a benchmark here. Like nighttime Escanor has showcased that he can take a hit from a 10 Commandment.
He's lucky. Stop it! I don't want to hear this. He's lucky. Literally,
he took a shot.
I meant
lucky. He took a shot from a 10 Commandment. How was that luck?
Gavin literally said I only meant to pat him.
Done?
I didn't mean to like knock him
I don't
out.
give a fuck about Escanor, bro. Fuck that shit, dog. Fuck out of here with this shit.
Okay. Last part that I'm gonna mention then is the fact that once again, not only the cover page, not only the fucking cover page, but we got an actual relevant Q&A from Nakaba. The dude is actually either watching my reviews or taking a page out of fucking Oda's book because he answered a relevant question. Is Rosa still alive? Who is relevant to Escanor's backstory. Good time to ask about it. Whether she is alive or dead is currently unknown as Escanor's kingdom has fallen. New information. Where was Escanor from? Was it France? Was it somewhere in Britannia? Was it Ireland, Scotland? We don't fucking know. And the thing is that kingdom has already fallen. That leads to 100 more things with just that one sentence. Thank you, Nakaba, for actually giving us a relevant question in the first fucking years. That's actually nice to see some new information.
Free Zeldris.
Make
Outta
check
here.
Free to man them. Free to man them. Free Zeldris. You know what I'm saying? Prisoner in his own body. That's crazy.
Canada won the NBA.
You know what I'm saying? Board man gets paid. We out here.
Fairy, shut down. Any final thoughts?
No, I'm just waiting for the next chapter, and I think what I'm waiting for now that we got Bond's Sacred Treasure and Elizabeth's a little bit more backstory, I'm waiting on Escanor's backstory. Is this what I need to like start wrapping up this story? So I'm just waiting for that, really.
You know what? Let me say my piece before we head out.
Here we go.
We don't want to hear it. Bye. Okay, go ahead.
Escanor needs to go through treatment with a 45-page side chapter. I'm just saying.
Whatsoever. Like,
you trash.
It's just been about this
power Tell us why, man.
The power shit is done and gone, and now we have this. When I was reading my reaction, I thought it was all right. Because you know what? I'm actually genuinely feeling this way about the character. And to see him possibly get something to, redeem him back is fine. I just don't want the same stereotypical bullshit of before where he comes back and solves every issue like he's the shit or he's everything. It takes away from the story. It literally does. It takes away from the story.
Oh, but Merlin's okay then.
Yes! Because he doesn't do it all the time.
Oh.
Crazy.
I want to ask you.
Ominous Nebula. The assault.
We're gonna be here for another hour.
Did somebody say Ominous Nebula?
No.
This is the final point in the podcast, bro. All right. So look, Escanor, I'll watch it, I'll read it, whatever it is, it's fine. But this character is dead to me. He should have fucking died when he took the commandment, and that would have been better for the character. This continued redeemable bullshit is just trash. It should be the 6 deadly sins right now. Yo ho ho!